welcome to Vuetify in 60 minutes. You will learn Vuetify from scratch to pro in just 60 minutes. So let's now go to Chrome and see what actually we are going to create. We are going to create this kind of thing just with Vuetify, nothing else, no backend. It's all just having the Vuetify. So you can see we have the footer, we have these icons, then this kind of footer, then we have this cursor and sliders, whatever you want to give. This is cool. If I go to contact page, yes, we have this kind of card with the image, these things at the center, some of the buttons which can be used anywhere you want. And then if I go to login, you can see we have these login part, and obviously these things are not going to work actually because it is just a front-end framework. So if I give anything here like bitfumes at gmail.com and password is now secret, and if I submit this, you can see on the console we are getting these things we are getting from these fields, and then we can use Ajax to send this along the backend. And one thing more, if I not give anything and try to submit, we get this error, please fill email and password. And yes, it's not looking quite good, but that you can make it good. And then we have this icon which is actually a font icon or font awesome icon, and these all icons are I think material icons. So in the Vuetify you can use material icon and font awesome icon, and we will see how we can use that. If I click here, it will go to the base URL, and if you have noticed, everything is on a single page. There is just a changing of component and routing. We have used view router to change all these things. And the last thing I want to show you is that if I change the device size, and now if I click here, you can see we are having this sidebar or sidebar drawer type things which you can use for smaller devices. So these are the things we are going to learn. Let's move forward. So let's just start this session and what we are going to learn in this episode. In this episode, we are going to learn what actually Vuetify is, how to install it, and future or roadmap of Vuetify. Then we will learn how to read the Vuetify documentation. This is very important, how to use the documentation, because I'm not going to give you each and everything written in the documentation. I'm going to teach you how you can read the documentation, how you can use the documentation, then how to use its UI component and some of the stylings and app layouts. So let me tell you about myself. My name is Sarthak Shrivastava. I'm your instructor, and you can follow me on these platforms at Bitfumes. So what actually is a Vuetify? So Vuetify is just a UI framework. It is based on Vue.js JavaScript framework and the Google material design techniques. This is very nice, and it is backed by patrons on patreon.com. This means there is no big support. All the support came from Patreons, but now there are many big companies which are now started to support the Vuetify. It is best used for web application, single page application, progressive web application, or mobile application. So you can see in every field you can use this Vuetify as a material UI framework. That's very nice. But the question comes in my mind, why you are going to use the Vuetify? Because it's having amazing support. Suppose you stuck on anywhere while using the Vuetify, how you will solve your problem? To solve your problem, you have to consult with others. So Vuetify has a great community. You can search on GitHub issues, you can search on Stack Overflows, you can have discussions on various forums. Very, very good community it has. Then comes continuous updates. Vuetify is started its journey on 2017, and in the meantime it has done various kinds of updates, and recently the new Vuetify 1.0.1 is released, which is super cool, having some more features. Then comes semantic toolkit, and this means you have easy to use component, easy to manage the component, and write as you speak. That means if you you are going to use the container, you will simply say v container. If you are going to use the flex, you will say v flex. It's super easy, it's super easy to use. So these are the things why you are going to use the Vuetify. Let's talk about the roadmap and the future plans of Vuetify. It was released in 2017, and just in the last week its new version is released, and it is totally redefined and added some of the cool features, great components, and some of the colors it has included. And this will going to be a great framework as the time comes. It is front end pack, that means you can do all the stylings on the front end just by using the Vuetify, and it has the plan to release 1.2 in the late 18, and obviously the Vueticast in 2018, late 2018. This means you will get the videos tutorial just like I am creating on the vueticasts.com. I don't know, but they have the plan. Then comes some of the assumptions. Before learning this Vuetify, you will must have the knowledge of JavaScript and the basics Vue.js. If you don't know about Vue.js, you can check out my channel. I have a tutorial of basic Vue.js. It's super cool, very easy, and it's in trend, and it's surpassed the Angular framework and just close to React framework. And in the coming up years, Vuetify will surpass even the React. So that's why it is super cool, and you need these two things before learning. Now it's time to work on the code. So let's just go to Chrome, and we need firstly to install Vue.js. Then we will use the Vuetify. So let's go to Vue and Vue.js, getting started, installation part. And what we need first, we need to install this Vue CLI. So for that, let's copy this one, and I'm going to open a new terminal here. And in this terminal, firstly you must have node or npm. So if you type node-v or npm-v on your terminal or command prompt if you are on Windows, then you will get these kind of version. If you're not getting these kind of version, I recommend you to go to nodejs.org, and you can download this according to your operating system, and then after you can able to run this command and it will give you the version. So that's fine. And after that, what you have to do, you have to run this command. So paste this and run that. So you can see it's already installed, and after that, how we will check that it is successfully installed or not? You just have to type Vue here. If you are getting this kind of things, that means it is successfully installed. Now what we have to do, we have to create a new project. So let's run this Vue init webpack and whatever your project name. So I will say Vuetify tutorial. Okay, so this is my project name, Vuetify tutorial, and now it will ask various questions for regarding this project. So my project name is Vuetify tutorials. That's okay, no problem. Then description I'm not going to give. Then author, obviously me. Then runtime compile for user, okay. Then you need Vue router, maybe I don't know, but let's use that. So yes, ESLint, yes. Then standard GitHub repository, I don't have any GitHub repository, so I will say none. Then unit test, I don't need any unit test because this video is just related to Vuetify, and I will do a new video related to Vue.js testing later. So I will simply say no, and then again no, and use npm, that's okay. And now it will install a fresh Vue.js project. So now you can see our Vue.js is successfully installed. So let's just cd into Vuetify-tutorials. So now it will compile everything and open the Vue.js project in localhost colon 8080. Okay, and now we just have to go to this URL 8080, and you can see our Vue.js is here. Let's now get the Vuetify. So I will go to vuetifyjs.com, and it says material component framework, and then You can either use the script tag for Vue.js and script tag for Vuetify, but we are on npm. We can use npm, and this is obviously recommended. So let's get npm, and here let's open a new terminal. We are still on Vuetify tutorial, and I will just run this command. So npm install Vuetify save and hit enter, and then it's now installing the Vuetify JS in our Vue.js app. So now it is successfully installed, and what next part we have to do, we have to just import this Vuetify and Vue and use Vuetify in our Vue.js app. So for that I will just open our Vuetify tutorial in code. So here VS Code we have, and if you are new to VS Code, I will recommend you to install this package installed. Let me search that one. Yeah, Vue tooling for VS Code. Vueter is a great extension which will give you more command on the Vue.js project. Okay, so if now I go to package.json, you can see we also have Vuetify, Vue router as we have installed while installing the Vue, and obviously the Vue.js. That's great. So let's see how we can use. The main folder is src folder, and in this src folder we have main.js, and here we just have to import these things. So we are going to import Vue, which is already here, so we don't need this one. Okay, then we are importing Vuetify, and then after we are using that Vuetify here. All these things are good, and if I save now, everything will saved, and here it refresh. Okay, then what we have to do for the CSS part, we have to import this on our CSS part, and then let's see how we can do that. So go to code, and here after this just go and import that CSS file. So here it is also good. Then what we have to do, just we have to use this one, this material icons on our HTML. So here if I go to this index.html, this one actually is the main index folder. So let's use this one, and now if I go, you can see we still have all things here, and it is already refreshed. So Vuetify is successfully installed. We don't have to do anything, and we can just ready to play along with these things. So I'm going to just give this firstly the toolbars. So let's grab this toolbar, and you can see on every component of Vuetify you will firstly have the uses, how you can use it. Then here are the some things. You can change the color, invert the color. You can get the GitHub part, GitHub codes of this particular component, and you can see we have these things, how we can use it, or you can check this how it's going to look on CodePen. So if you click here, it will open on the CodePen, and you can see it's having these things, and you can just play along all these things. So if I simply say here Bitfumes, and in no time it will just refresh here, and you can see it's Bitfume. And then finally let's close these things. You have this view source. So whatever we have, let's see the source. So what we can do, we can just copy this toolbar from here, go to VS Code, and on our components, instead of hello world, you can see we have this hello world and all these things, and that actually you can see we have the essential links and all these things. So essential links are here, all these things, but I don't need these things, so I will simply delete everything from here and paste our toolbar. So let's now go, and you can see we have toolbar out of the box. We have imported the Vuetify, we have imported Vuetify CSS files, and we have changed everything. Now let's just clean up this logo also. So for that I will go to maybe on app. Yes, on the app.view you can see we have this image which is having this logo, and that's also removed. And we have some kind of margin at the top, and let's see why we have that margin is because of this styling. So we can just remove the margin top, and yes, you can see we have all these things. And that's the power of using Vue.js and Vuetify. So let's now deep dive into this toolbar. So if I now go to code, and on this toolbar template, you can see this toolbar is actually wrapped around a V toolbar component, or that simply tag, and it's firstly using V toolbar side icon. And what is this? This is actually these three bars you can see here, and then we have V toolbar title, which is given title, and I'm going to change it to Bitfumes, and it reflect here. Then three links are here inside V toolbar item. One is, let's call it about, and other as contact, and the last one as login. This is good, and all these things are here, but we have not talked about the V spacer. This is not actually the core part of toolbar component, it's just the main part of Vuetify framework. This means you can use this V spacer anywhere. But what this actually do? I will show you firstly. So if I comment it out and go, and you can see all these links are moved towards the left. So I think what this will do, if I again uncomment it, it will move everything to the right, which is just after it, and everything to the left, which is just above this. So now it is on the right. So this means VSpacer can be used anywhere. So these are the things you can do with the toolbar. But let's now go to Vuetify documentation and learn some more things. So as I have told you, every component of Vuetify has this kind of system. First, they will give you some uses and the simple code, and then some API. API stands for some kind of enhancement you can do with your component. So there are props. There are props related to various things, and you can use these props to make that component your component. So firstly, I will see that here there is no color, it's just white. So why not give color? So I will go here and provide toolbar a color of indigo. If I go here, it's indigo, but you can see these are black. But how we will ensure that these links will become white? And the most important part, how I know that there is a color on Vuetify called indigo. For that, firstly, you will go to documentation, and at the top of this documentation links, styling and themes are here. Inside that, you will see we have the colors, and I will open this in new tab, and here, if you scroll down, you can see you have lots and lots of color to play with your components. So here you can see we have the indigo, and we have even the deep purple. So why not check out the deep purple lighten 4? So if I go to code, instead of indigo, deep purple lighten 4, go here, and yes, we have the deep purple lighten 4. But what about that indigo and making all these things white? So for that, you will see we have another prop which is called where is that, which is called dark. I think we have somewhere, yeah, here. So here is the dark. So actually by default every component is light. So if I say here dark, you can see now it's having the dark theme. So if this means if I remove the color, the links become white and everything else is not affected. So let's give the indigo color and dark, everything is good. But here is the problem, that this title is still black. How we will convert this to white? I think the same way. So let's give color of white. So here give white color, save. But it's not having any effect here. So how we will change the color? For that, actually you don't need to give color, you have to give a class. Yes, a class having text white, but here on the Vuetify there is some reverse thing. This means you just have to firstly define the color, which is white, then two hyphen, and then you have to say text. This means white hyphen hyphen text. So if I now go, you can see, yes, our title is also white color. So this is the way you can play along all these props for particular component, here toolbar, and you can play along all these things. But here is not the end of this documentation. For every component, after the simple uses APIs, they will provide you the examples of using the component with various combinations of these API props, and here are the some given here. So these are the things you can play along. But in our app there is toolbar or navbar, but we don't have any footer. In a Vuetify they will also provide you footer. That's a cool part. So if you go scroll down and mind this, all these components are placed here in an alphabetical order. So you just have to go according to alphabetical order, and that's super easy to find any component here. So let's go to footer, and again you can see it is having the same system. First they define the simple uses, then the API, and then the combinations of API and simple uses to create various examples. And here we can use, let's say this one. I will use this one, teal footer. So I will copy this and I will go to code and create a new component called app footer. So app footer.view, and let's paste it. So I have pasted that, but we have to use it. I will create a new component called app home, and here I will simply create a template, and here I will use that firstly the footer. So I will call it app hyphen footer, and above that I have to use that app hyphen header, or you can say app hyphen toolbar. Okay, so we have app footer, but we have not imported that. So let's create a script tag, and in this script tag we have to import our app footer from the same directory of app footer, and let's call components, and components are app footer, and obviously we will go and create toolbar. And now we have to firstly import app toolbar also. So I will call it toolbar, but we don't even have the toolbar, so why not rename this hello world to app toolbar. And this means, yes, we are getting error because in our router, in our index.js, we don't have any component called hello world. So here everywhere we have the hello world. Let's use our app home. Okay, so this is good. We are still having error because on our app home we are using two tags inside one template. So why not do one thing? Let's give a div and move these two inside this div. So let's indent all these things, and this time no error. This means if I go to Chrome, you can see we have this toolbar and even this footer, which is not looking pretty. That is because if I go to Vuetify documentation, we have this template, but we also have some script tag. So let's now copy this script tag and paste this inside our script tag. This means we having all these things, and now if I go to Vuetify tutorials, yes, we have everything, but we have still some kind of margin here on the right. Let's now fix it. And to fix this, what we just have to do, we have these rows here, and you can see on this we have one flex, vflex, which is for contact, and we have this flex which is having v for as a loop, and it's looping inside this rows. And we have 3 rows, that's why it's giving 3 rows. But if I now provide one more row and like this, you can see it fill out every space, and obviously we have some repetition. So you can see it is done, and we can also do some more stuffs. If I go to API for this footer, you can see we have this fixed one. This means if I provide this footer as fixed, and then you can see it's now fixed at the bottom. So whatever the content you will give, it doesn't matter, it will fixed here. Okay, so these are the things you can play along with these things if you want. So what next we want to say here, I want to give some kind of login form. So if I click on here, I will get to slash login, and then we will have some login form. So I will remove this fixed from here, and then I will create a login form. So app login, it's just my way of naming the components. It's all depend upon you. So login form, this means we need a form. So again, as I have told you, let's go UI component, and you will see we have somewhere input and control. Yes, we have, and we have this form here, and form name email, and let's just now grab that. I think you now got the point how to read documentation, how to get codes, and how to handle these things. So these are very easy things. So let's just grab this from here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to create nothing but I'm going to just paste it, but here I will create v container, and it's simply a container which will hold all these things having margin on the right. So that's fine. Let's indent it once more, and if I try to see it, we can't see that because we are not using, but we have to link with this login button. So we have to make some changes in our app.view, which is the main file, and what I will do, I will move all these footer and toolbar from app home to our app.view. Why is that? Because I want this thing, this toolbar and the footer, to be placed in every component I will render through this router. So router view is here. This means everything connected to router will come between these two, and now I don't even need this one, so I will simply say here home component. Okay, so I don't need these things else, so just close it. And now on the index.js, which is from router, and I will create a new object for our login. This means path is login, and app login, here also app login, and let's call it a new component from here, and that will be app login once more. And now let's open app.view. We have to import these two also. So import app footer from the component slash app footer, and similarly we have to import app toolbar. So toolbar, and then let's use these two as the component here. So comma components, and components will be app toolbar and then app footer. That's okay. So let's go to Chrome once more, and yes, we can see we have toolbar, we have the footer and little home components. Okay, so now if I click on this, login doesn't have any effect because we have not used the router links in our app toolbar. So how we will use the router links? If you don't know exactly how you can use, you have to go to view router.vuejs.org. Then on the getting started, you will see you have this link. So let's just copy this from here and paste it here. But if I paste it here, it will looks like this. You can see we can't even see that properly. So that's why we have to use this button inside this router link, and this is okay, and we have to go to login. That's okay. So now it is visible, but it's pulled at the top. We will fix this, but let's first see it's working or not. So if I click here, yes, it's absolutely working. So this is good, but let's fix this login button. But what we have to do here, we just have to make this a div instead of v toolbar item. We just have to make this as a div. This will not affect, but it will clear out these view, and this is now correctly placed button. So this is good, but we obviously need a button for that. So again, on the Vuetify framework, we have to go to UI components and button, but we have button floating action, button sheet, button navigation. We will have to go to buttons only, and as usual the users are here, then the APIs and some examples are here. So I will simply go here, and you can see we actually have seen this thing VBTN, and then we will provide the color, and obviously it will work. So let's see how we can use this on our login form. So on app login, after this label I will say VBTN, and here I will say submit, and let's call it a class of success. Okay, so make it also a submit button. So type is submit, and let's now go refresh this. Yes, we have this, but it's not having the color we want. So let's now make it green instead of success, and yes, this time it's working absolutely fine. So this is here, and it's a submit button. So if I submit here, yes, you can see we have some submit part which is not going to submit anywhere because we don't have any action for the reform, and we even not going to give any action because this is a JavaScript framework Vue.js, and we will handle this all these things via Ajax. So how we will move this as a email and password. So email we have, but instead of this name, what I will do, I will make this as a password field. So to make this as a password field, label it as a password, name it password, and I don't want any rule, no counter, but I will say type is equal to password. What this will do actually, if I go and try to type here, it's now hidden, and this is exactly we want for any kind of password input field. And if you open console, yes, we have lots of error because you can see the rule is not defined here. So I can even remove this rule, I don't want, but I want obviously this email. So if I go refresh this, yes, I have, it says method email rules not found, valid not found, email not found, various things not found. So try to give all these things. So script tag and define some data which will going to return firstly email, which is initially as null, then password, which is again initially as null, and make it valid is equal to true, because this it's just a v model, even we can remove that and we don't need this. Okay, so this is good, and this time if I submit here, I want to have all these details in our Vue.js hand. So this means on the submit of this form, so I will say at submit. At submit, what we want, firstly we want to prevent any default action, and then I will call the function or the method called submit. So let's create the method, methods, and method name is submit. It will just going to console log and hello. Okay, for the just demo part, refresh, give bitfumes at gmail.com, password is 123456, and hit this submit button. You can see we are consoled hello, and we don't have even the form action, form submitting action, because we have prevented that at submit.prevent. But how we will get these fields? It's super easy, because we are consoling hello. Instead of this, we can say in double ticks, and we can say email is then dollar curly braces this dot email, and password is dollar curly braces this dot password, and obviously this has to be correct. Yes. Okay, so we are fetching the data from this data fields. So let's now see the result. So refresh, and bitfumes at gmail.com, password is 123456, and submit. And yes, you can see we have these things. Console logged email is bitfumes at gmail.com and password is 123456, and we can send these things to our backend. So this is the way you can use Vuetify framework as a login form and in your whole project. After that, let's now talk about the responsiveness of our Vuetify framework. So let's go to home page, but I think we don't have any links, so why not create that? So go to code on the app toolbar. I will grab this one from here and paste it here. Instead of this button, I will move this title bar and delete this login button. And what we have to do, just here slash, nothing else. So let's see how it's going to look. Great. So if I click here, yes, we are on the home component, but you can see we are having all these toolbar. If I open the Chrome Dev tool and start experimenting on the different type of devices, you can see even our links are hidden. So if I uncheck this, links are here about login and contact, but not here. Why this is not here? Because again, if I go to app toolbar, you can see it says hidden SM and down. This means we have various types of or categories of devices like extra large, large, medium, small, extra small, and we can define our component according to that. So for that, let's now go to Vuetify documentation, and here on app layout you will see we have this display part. On this display part, we will have all these categories of the devices, and according to that we can set the visibility. So you can see we have same thing as we have here, SM and down. So here we can see we have SM and down, and similarly we have and up. So let's see how we can get something like a toolbar which is only for smaller devices. So if I click here, we get some nav bar coming from the left like that. So for that we have to again get a new UI component which is like navigation drawer. So let's get this navigation drawer and let's see some of these examples. Yes, it's okay. I think this is good, or maybe this is the, yeah, this one is nice. So I'm going to get all these things and open this, and here after this div I'm going to create a new div, and I will give this div a class of hidden MD and up. What this means? This means that this particular div is hidden for medium devices and above that, and while this one is hidden, this one is visible, and vice versa. So why not get all these things inside this div? So let's paste this, and I don't want any template, neither this v layout. Similarly here I'm not going to give any layout and template. Let's now go to Chrome and see the result. So if I refresh here, yeah, it says some drawer is not found because we have to include this script tag has this data part. So let's grab this and put this inside a script tag like this, and maybe this time everything will works fine. So refresh, and yes, so if I click on toggle, yeah, we have this drawer from the left, and if I click side, that is gone. But obviously we want to have this toggle part when we click on this three bars here. So let's delete this toggle button and move that functionality to this bar. So now here on this toggle, where is that toggle? Here is it, and we just want this one. So now we can delete this entirely, and on this toolbar side icon, I can, instead of active, I can just say drawer. So let's go refresh this and click. Yes, we have the drawer, and anywhere other, if I click, it's gone. But we have some problem here. If I click here, you can see it's not visible totally. So why not fix this? So if I go here, and by the way, if you go here, and you can see we have some warning that click event doesn't have any function. So we actually don't need any click event, so delete that. And for that purpose of hidden part, what we can do, let's go to app.view and let's try to comment app footer. And this time, yes, we have this home. And why is that? This means because our footer is doing some problem. So let's do one thing. I will give a style, position is absolute, and z index is -1. Let's see and how it's going to look. And yes, it's working absolutely fine. So if I click, yes, we have this home. But if I now go to app toolbar, yeah, we have home and about both. So we are looping through these two, and we must see two, but we are getting only one. Let's see why. This is because we have to give the height of the navigation bar. So if I go to navigation drawer, we will provide the height. So height will be, let's say, 400 pixel, and that should be like this. Okay, so this time if I click, yes, we have the whole nav bar or nav bar drawer, sidebar, whatever you want to call it. It's absolutely correct. So after this, let's try to do something else. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a contact page. That means if I click on this contact page, the contact page comes up here, and for that I'm going to use the cards here. So here we have the card, and card has some image, some heading, and the description, and some buttons. We can use other examples also. These are the examples, but let's try with a simple one. So I'm going to use this card. So copy this card, and first thing first, let's create the router. So on the index.js, on the router, let's create another object which is just going to give contact page. So that should be contact, and my component name is app contact, and same thing here. Let's import app contact. So let's import app contact, and obviously we have to create it, so that's why we are giving this error. So let's create app contact. So app contact dot view, and let's paste this, not this one. We have to once more copy that. So copy and paste it. Yes, we have this. So let's first see how it's going to look, then we will modify it. So go here and click on contact. Oh, nothing is working. Why? Because we have to go to toolbar, then on the contact we have to give this router link. So instead of this contact, I'm going to give router link. So cut from here, and instead of this login, let's paste that one. Oops. Okay, now it's going to be everything work fine, but let's say here we want contact to contact. This means if I refresh and click on contact, yes, we have this card, but obviously this card doesn't have that image. So let's fix that first. So I will go to app contact, and here I will say https colon vuetify.com. Is that true? vuetifyjs.com slash everything else. So yes, we have this image, and we want to give some margin at the top. To give the margin, if you go to here on the app layout, you will see we have this spacing. Let's open in a new tab, and let's see the spacing. Spacing is margin, or we can say padding. So M top, and how much you want to give. It's super easy, and that's why Vuetify, I love Vuetify, because they have simplified each and everything, and we can use it very easily. So we just have to say here like this, margin top 4. It's super easy to give these margins. So that's why if I go here, yes, we have this margin of 4 at the top. So that's super cool. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cover this margin and this margin also. And instead of giving offset of 3, I will remove this and make this as, let's say, 8. So now if I see, yes, we have this 8, but what I want, as I have told you, I want margin here. So actually for 12 parts we have included 8 here, that means 4 remaining. So let's give offset of 2 and make this 8. Now it will going to work absolutely fine. So in this way you can play with the margins and the grid structure. You can see the grid breakpoints are here. Grid breakpoints are here, which is going to be very helpful when you want to create sub components like the sidebar and the main structure. Then you can use all these things, and they are very easy to use, and that's why we have the grid system, and grid lists are also here. You can modify these things, like you can play with these things actually. So these are the things which are related to grid and the margin. And let's see what the next part we are going to implement in our system. So let's now go and check out each and every UI component. So I will start from alert. So alert we have here, and where we can use the alert. On the login, I want to give a system where if these fields are empty and user submit here, I want to give this kind of warning that these fields are mandatory, please fill these things. So let's see, let's grab this one firstly, and this is an alert having type of warning, and go to login component. So app login, and just at the top, just inside the component, I'm going to give the warning which is like, please fill email and password. It just for showing you, it doesn't matter you have to use like these things, it's just what I'm going to demonstrate you. So we have to provide the value as true. This means if I say here, let's try this with true. So if I go here on the component, you can see we have some type of things which is written here, but it's not colored as we want. So that is because we have not included the warning part in our CSS. So instead of this, we can provide type is equal to warning and color is equal to lime. So give this, and yes, it is visible somewhat, but what I want to give this warning only when the user submit this button without filling these things. So on the submit of the form, firstly I have to check if the user has filled email or not. So I'm going to say if this dot email and this dot password we have any fields, then that's okay. But if this is not the case, this means I have to put like this exclamation mark for not have these things. Then I'm going to say alert is equal to true, and this has to be a this dot alert, because we are going to define a data called alert which is initially false. And this means for this we have to say alert. Okay, and this means if I now go, yes, we don't have anything, but let's try to hit submit button. Yes, we have these fields, and if I fill all these things, so let's just refresh and fill these parts and submit. Yes, we can see that. That means our system is working absolutely fine. So this is the alert part. So let's see what the next part, avatar component v avatar, which is, where is that? Yeah, this is v avatar is here. So what I'm going to do on the contact part, just before these things, I want to show any kind of image. So on the contact I will go and on contact, just after this, let's try to use v avatar, and similarly http:// vuetifyjs.com https. Okay, so is that working? No, I think we have some, once more we have error. Yeah, that error is because we have not defined the avatar size and avatar tile. So let's delete all these things, and now this time you can see this avatar is here. So if I define size, so I'm going to say here 40. So why not remove this colon, and this time it's good 40. But if I say 80, yes, it is maximized, and this is the avatar field. You can play with these things. Now comes the badges. What these badges will do. What if you want to have some kind of notification type things, or like these, or simply a cart which is having number of items in the cart. So similarly we can grab these things. So batch, v batch, it's simple, it's super easy. You can I think you now feeling the way Vuetify component named. It's super easy. You want to use batch, that's why it is v batch. You want to use card, v card. You want to use alert, v alert. Super easy to use. And let's use this on the toolbar. So on the toolbar, just before everything else, after v spacer, and you know I have told you v spacer what it will do. It will just push everything below it to the right and above it to the left. So I have moved this on the right part. This means yes, we have here, and you can see we have given here left. So if I give batch right, you can see 6 is now on the right, and similarly we can give bottom to have the on the bottom part. So bottom, and now yes, we have on the bottom. So subscript, superscript, everything is covered by these fields, and again totally awesome. I am going to love this. So let's see what else we have given here. Okay, and so let's say I want to give a not gray color, I want to give simple red color. So that's why it's now red and super easy. So these are the batches. Then comes bottom navigation, and bottom navigation is like these things. So what next part is, this is carousel. This is very nice. It's like a simple slider you can use, and again you can see it's super easy. V carousel, and you can use it, and after that it's super easy. You just have to loop through all the images you have on the script tag, yeah, here, and it will again going to work just like a magic. So let's try this on our home page. So I will just copy this v carousel and go to app home. Instead of home component, I'm giving this one, and obviously we have to grab these fields so that everything will work fine. Why not copy all these things from here and paste it here? So make all these things with the https:// vuetifyjs.com, and now if I go on home page, and yes, you can see if I close this, it's looking very nice, super and extremely good. And that's the magic of Vuetify. I think I have told this many times, but that's the Vuetify is. So next thing is what? If I now see, we can see that this get connected us on social network on the footer is on the left. Why not get this just in the middle? To have that, let's go on this app layouts, and you can see text alignments we have. This means we can provide the alignment, and how it's going to look. You just have to give the text, then the device you want to give, and the center, left or right. So I'm going to give MD center, text MD center, but let's go, and on our footer you can see we have this strong tag, and let's give this text MD center. So how it's going to look? Okay, it's not changed. You know why it's not changed? Because if you go alignment helpers, you can see it's for V card text, and we are on V card title. So let's change this to V card text. And now if I go and see, yes, it's on the middle, and that's again the magic of Vuetify. Similarly, if we want to use this at the center, why not go to contact, and instead of this title, I'm just going to give this as a vcard text. So by default it's giving these things at the center. We don't even have to provide anything, but instead of doing all these things, I just want this title to be on left. Yes, now we can give class text md. Instead of center we will say left, and yes, you can see it's now on left, but I think on the center it's looking nice. After this, let me show you a cool part. So if I go again to Vuetify documentation on this app layout, you can see we have this elevation, and elevation is just going to give you a 3D look. You can see it's now looking elevated. Similarly, we have to provide the same thing for this card. To have the elevation on our card, we have to go again to app contact. On the card, we have to provide that class of elevation hyphen, let's say I want to give 20. So how it's going to look, let's now go, and you can see it's now raised, elevated, and this means if I now make it 24, it's now more elevated. And if I now give only 0, and you can see the elevation part is gone, the shadow has gone. So you can play with this, and this is again in my sense a cool part. So in the whole course I have telling you that yeah, Vuetify is super easy to use, super easy to use. The one more advantage of using Vuetify is that if you go on the documentation, on the application layout, you will get predefined layouts also. So if I open predefined layouts, you can see we have many kinds of predefined layouts. This means this like baseline. So if I open this, how it's going to look, which is just like this. On the sidebar we have this, so you don't have to include all these things. It's by default included the header and the footer, and you can get the source code for this one from here, and everything is written, almost everything. Drawer is written, we have included everything on our app by ourselves, but they have given a base to start with the Vuetify. After that you can see it's now having the centered, and let me show you one more cool part. Yeah, this Google YouTube, this one is very nice. This is the login form, you can see it's very nice. And similarly the YouTube, it's super, it's the old YouTube look, but again it's very nice. You can toggle from here and search here, search bar they have given, and all the codes written on the GitHub library of this Vuetify.js. And but this is not the end yet. Even after this we have some more part. This is the predefined layout, but you can see predefined, pre-made themes are also here, and these are also nice because you don't have to worry about all these things. So these are the things you can use. Similarly, the demo of blog, so you can see it's blog one, and it is again nice. And after that I want to show you a great thing. You have seen that we have used some kind of icons here. This is the cart icon, but you know, this is not actually a far icon or the font awesome. This is actually a material icon. So if I go to app toolbar, you can see on the V icon, again as I have told you, we want to use icon, just say V icon, and then we are using shopping cart. So if I now open material icon, so like this, material.io/icons, and you can find that icon. So I have shopping and this one shopping cart. So every word is concatenated with underscore, so shopping underscore cart. So if you want to use another different one, like anyone, like account box, say account box I want to use, so I will say account underscore box and remove the T. This means if I now go, yes, we have this. And this is not the end yet. If you don't want to use the material icon, that's not the restriction. You can use font awesome also. To use font awesome, we firstly have to include the CDN. So let's grab the font awesome CDN from here, and then we can use the font awesome icons. So grab font awesome CSS, copy this and copy this, go here on the index.html. I will include this font awesome also. That's very nice. And now if I go to app toolbar, instead of account box, I want to say far hyphen bell. This is, I think you are familiar with, and it's not here. Maybe I have to include far bell. Okay, yeah, I have to refresh also. Okay, and now you can see we have the far bell, and you can see it's quite large because we have used large attribute here. So if I remove that, yes, it is now looking quite a good one. Okay, so this is the way you can either use font awesome or use material icon. It's totally depend upon you. So the last part I'm going to show you is actually a menu bar, but it's not a simple menu bar. If I go to motion and transition, there is a transition, and you can see we have this slide X. You can see these menu bar is coming from left, and now this is coming from right. So origin we can set, so we can move this all these things in a new menu bar, and we can move all these things like here we have given. And also there is one more great component, which is like this menu. So we have this menu, and this is simply coming from the top, and you can again give these attribute. Bottom is false, and then coming from left, right, and all these things are given here. So these are the great part, and that's not the end. You can also use it on any image, and similarly on other part. Then we have many things which I have not covered in a short span, but the date picker is again a great component where you can pick a date according to your your project, and this is now reflected at just at the top here. And these are the things you can now play around because you have the knowledge of Vuetify and how you are going to use Vuetify. So we have covered the getting started, application layout, style and themes, motion transition, UI component, and some of the directives. Directives are just, you can see if you resize, you want to do something when the window size becomes something. So if I now resize the window, you can see now it's saying a different value, and as I resize it, you can see X part is changing. If I now move like this, you can see X and Y both are changing. So you can play around all these things, and you have the total control of window size, and this is again because of Vuetify. Then comes ripple, and ripple is just going to give you effect. You can see it's ripple effect, but it is not ripple effect. So you can make any button just like a disable if it is not having a ripple button, and if it is having a ripple effect, this is a great thing. Similarly, the scrolling directive will provide you how much you have scrolled on your window. So these are the things you can play around, and if you have any doubt, feel free to message me. And if you want to support Bitfumes, you just have to go to patreon.com/bitfumes, and you can donate $1 a month so that I can have the ability to create more and more awesome videos just like this and others I have on my channel. And this is just keep pushing me to create all these things only for you guys. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and like Bitfumes on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So we will meet in the next episode. Till then, goodbye.